Today's going to be a good day, and here's why.
Because today we're going to be in the room where it happens. I'm Becca.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Eni, and this is Sincerely Us, a podcast for the casual musical theater fan. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
Oh my
morning.
gosh, it's so freaking early. Ye dear listener, it is 7 a.m, which I think is the earliest I've recorded a podcast. I've done 8 a few times, but 7 is a new low, so to speak. But I'm excited.
Well, we wanted to get you with your newest thoughts after seeing Hamilton yesterday.
Yeah, we wanted to be
gosh.
the first people that you talk to, which is probably not the case, but it's fine.
Close enough.
First podcast I've talked to, Bacon and Eggs. I haven't even watched the movie for Bacon and Eggs this week. So
Becca,
Yeah.
we have Tyler on the show.
I know. This has been crazy. We've been wanting him on the show basically since we started.
this is a fun fact. I woke up this morning and I was like, all right, I'm going back on Sincerely Us this morning. That's great. I love these two. I'm so excited. So the fact that this is my first time on this show was a surprise to me also. I was certain that I'd done this before.
Well, we'd been trying to get you on, and then you were like, so I'm going to see Hamilton in December. We were like, oh, okay, we're definitely pushing that.
Okay, so if for somehow you're listening to the show and you don't know who we're talking to, this is Tyler Carlin from Bacon and Eggs, a movie lovers podcast with new episodes every Thursday available wherever you get your podcasts and now on Spotify.
Yes, that's me.
We love him.
And before we get started, what are your preferred pronouns?
He, him. I pretty much subscribe to the whole list. He, him, brother, son, father.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Not only is Tyler on the show this week, but we're talking about Hamilton. This episode is finally here and I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh, I know, right? It's so good.
Okay, so Tyler, tell us. You went to go see it yesterday. How was it?
It was amazing. It was extremely, extremely cool. I will say, just like a few, I don't want to say caveats on our viewing. We had a partial view, I guess, or a slightly obstructed view, whatever that's supposed to mean. I don't know. We saved $700 a ticket. I don't even. I'm not even a little bit upset. I can mostly see. This is going to make me sound like such a lame theater person. When you're looking at the stage, which one is stage left? Is it from the stage or off the stage?
It's from the stage, so it would be your right. So
Okay.
if you're sitting in the audience, stage left is your right.
So you couldn't see stage left.
No, I couldn't see stage right.
Okay.
No.
So you couldn't see house left.
Hold on.
No. I remember your picture.
Okay.
On Instagram.
When you walk into the theater, I was all the way to the right.
Yeah, so you
Okay.
couldn't see stage left. It's the opposite of what you
correct. That being said, I think only twice in the entire show somebody is standing on that balcony that is delivering dialogue that you need. So I didn't miss anything.
Well, to be fair, you already knew all the words.
I
so.
did already know all the words, and also you could tell. I think it was Washington, who has a very clear voice in this show. There's no way you're gonna mix him up with anybody else. And I can't remember who the other one was. I think it was Eliza, but I loved it. It was so good. I will say so my experience with Hamilton. It took me a long time of listening to it before I was like, I like this. This is good. I had to listen to the cast album 4 or 5 times before I was like, oh, whoa, this is amazing. I can definitely see how people who see the performance do not have that experience.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom saw it and she didn't like it.
So I listened.
I think my mom might be in the same boat. So
Yeah.
I listened to Hamilton for 3 years before seeing it.
Mhm.
4 years, and avidly listening.
Right.
I think one year when I got my Spotify wrap up thing, I was in the top 1% of people who listen to Hamilton. So
I believe
listened
that
to it
about
a lot. a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I sobbed through the entire performance. I was just crying the entire time. I was so happy to be there.
I still haven't seen it, so.
That's okay. It the cast album is so incredibly good. One thing I'll say about the cast album versus the live performance, and I guess Eni, you saw the same cast I would have seen, right?
I'm not sure because
similar.
there's two tours. There's the Philip tour and the Angelica tour, or the Philip tour and the Peggy tour.
Oh, then I have no idea what I saw.
It depends.
Yeah, I have no idea. I know that the Burr that I had was the guy that originally toured Burr.
Okay, then we saw the same. I think we saw the same company.
Okay.
So when I saw it live, I absolutely loved Burr. I was not a fan of our Hamilton.
I'm the other way around.
But it also could be the fact that I listened to the cast album a billion times before seeing the show.
So I will say, like, yeah, having a smoother Hamilton was a surprise, but having like a Weasley or Burr was more jarring.
Okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Because I felt like I can forgive Lynn for being Lynn.
Because he's
but,
Lynn.
Like, but I can't forgive other people for not being Leslie Odom Jr. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel that.
He definitely has like one of the smoothest voice in Broadway in general. So like
right.
I can't even imagine listening to someone else deliver his lines.
Well, that was the crazy thing about it was like in the cast album, Leslie is so smooth. You think of Burr as this like sort of cool antagonist, but the guy that tours Burr is like slimy and sort of like awkward and a little bit like like it's very clear that this guy is a villain.
Yeah.
As opposed to like a lot of people like Ethan, my co-host, sympathizes with Burr throughout like the whole show. But I think if he saw this performance of it, he would be like, oh, definitely not. No. Yeah, no, Burr is not.
That's so interesting.
This is something that's interesting to me about the show was the guy that plays the king. And of course, like, I'm so sorry to all of these amazing actors. I should have all your names in front of me, and I do not. But the guy who plays the king in at least this touring version of it sounds almost exactly like Jonathan Groff, which I think, like, he doesn't look like him. He looks more like Justin McElroy than anybody. But
That's amazing.
Now all I can see is Justin McElroy dressed up as the king.
I would pay so much money to see Justin as the king. That would be amazing.
He would totally do it too.
Yeah, probably.
But I thought it was interesting because one of the things that makes Hamilton is that it's, you know, it's hip hop music. So I thought it was funny that like the one guy who plays the white guy who sings the traditional Broadway way sounds exactly the same as, you know, the original white guy.
The original white guy who sang in a Broadway voice. Yeah,
right.
I get it. I love how much more of the king there is in the show than on the cast album.
Yes.
Yes, as do I. He's hilarious. At least in our show, he was really funny.
Yes. I was dying laughing anytime he came on stage. He's hilarious. Which was something I did not get listening to the cast album, probably for like the first like 3 months of like proper obsession. And Ina, you said that when you listened to it, you know, there was one year where you were like in the top 1%. I will not be surprised if I come close to that metric this year. Like,
that makes me so happy.
I would say 70% of the music I've listened to in 2019 has been Hamilton.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so funny. That was probably my 2017. I don't think I was in the top 1% by any means, but I definitely knew the whole first half and like I could sing it for you probably right now. And I'm not Ethan, but I could sing it for you.
What was your favorite song that was performed?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to pull up the song list real quick so that I have it because I felt like I was so in the whole thing that I wasn't thinking.
Retain anything?
Right. That was definitely part of the chat. As soon as it was over, I was like, oh, I have to do this again. There's no option right now. I 100% have to see this again.
Yeah.
I felt the exact same way. So my favorite song on the cast album is Wait For It, obviously. I have a lyric of that song tattooed on my arm. But seeing History Has Its Eyes on You, like, performed just gave me like all of the emotions. And like, I mean, again, I was crying throughout the entire show, but I don't know. There was something about that song that I was just like, wow. It left me completely speechless.
That's my favorite song.
I know.
So this is a crazy thing about the live performance. I feel like when I listen to the cast album, I can have like my favorite character is either Burr or Hamilton, like pretty clearly. I've liked some of the other characters, but I didn't feel like and this is obviously not true the more you listen to it, but I didn't feel like a lot of people, I know when you first saw it, you were like, oh, that's Eliza's show. And when I stepped out, I was like, that's Eliza's show.
It is.
That it's not about anybody else.
No.
But I would say that my favorite character is probably Washington. So I thought it was interesting that that's who you brought up. I really like,
he's my favorite.
He's so good. He's so good.
I love Chris Jackson so much.
Me too.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh gosh. What is my favorite song? I keep being like, oh, obviously this. And then I look at another one and I'm like, oh wait, no, this was so cool. I love how they did the cabinet battles. I thought that was hilarious. I've always loved the Reynolds pamphlet. I really liked the second act a lot, which took me longer to get into originally. But I think that's every second act, because you have to listen to like an hour and a half of music to get to it. So it's like by the time you get there, it's reasonable for you to be like, okay, I need to take a break.
Yeah, I don't think I listened to the second act until honestly a couple months in, because I wanted to like fully digest the first act, and the first act is as much music as most musicals. Oh,
it's way more than most musicals.
Yeah, exactly. So like, oof. I don't even know the second act nearly as well as I should, but I know up until they get to the war basically very well.
Another one of my favorite songs, like on stage, was "Satisfied," because like the whole thing is that you hear "Helpless," and it's the story of how they met. They being Eliza, Angelica, and Hamilton through Eliza's perspective, and then "Satisfied" is through Angelica's perspective. So like in between those two songs, they literally like rewind the entirety of what you just saw. And like they use the stage, like the stage like actually rotates and stuff, and it's so freaking cool.
Oh my god, that's awesome!
It's a revolving stage.
Okay,
you're a revolving stage.
No, you are.
I remember watching it and being like, I knew that there was a revolving stage, and I knew that there was like two little Lazy Susans, but I could not figure out where they were, and that was like part of the fun for me.
I love that you called it a lazy Susan.
That's what it is. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
It is.
That's so funny to me.
Yeah, but it's like that whole scene, like in between those two songs, is just like so. Well, it's technically during "Satisfied," the beginning of "Satisfied," where they literally just rewind and people are walking backwards and like the stage is revolving.
I think honestly my favorite thing was all of the duels. Every time somebody got shot and it went like slow motion.
Oh my god, yeah.
Was the coolest thing. And then the ending. The only time I actually cried was when Hamilton was shot.
Oh no.
Which was
when their son dies, like
that guy. When their son dies and they both have their hands on him and Eliza pulls her hand out from under Hamilton's. Oh my god, I was so weak. I was like, oh my god. And then she's like,
so I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
How did you feel about Dear Theodosia now that you have a child? Or is it Dear? Yeah.
Thanks.
Dear Theodosia was like when Olivia was born, we played Dear Theodosia, the Ben Folds and Regina Spektor version, like in the delivery room.
Oh my god.
Like, that was, yeah. that was a big part of Olivia's like birth and delivery. So that was very, very cool. And also the guy who plays Burr, this is not necessarily true of Leslie, but the guy who plays Burr in this touring cast, God, I feel so bad. Dear actors, I love you. Thank you for everything that you do. I wish I knew your names. But he was a much better singer than he was hip-hop artist. So Dear Theodosia was incredible. And it was just very, very good. And that was a really special moment for Emily and I, because we saw it together. So that was really, really nice. I really liked that. That was a happy and exciting moment. And I will say that after spending all weekend with our daughter, it was like it really sucked to leave her with her grandmother for the 3 hours that we were at Hamilton. But so I missed her the whole time. I was like, I just want her to sit on my lap and watch the show. She wouldn't have a clue what's going on, but
that's not the point, though. Cry. It's not for her. It's for you.
Right, I know. But I still wanted her there.
Oh, yeah. Because I know that song gets me, and I am not even close to a parent, so I can't even imagine watching that as a parent. That was the only song my mom liked.
We're close.
Huh?
No,
you're close to a parent.
No, like she's not close to being a parent, is what she's saying.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So did Emily like the show?
She loved it. She was like, "This is amazing." So that's good. I think we were talking about it after the show, and it'll definitely be, details will need to be worked out. But we were like, I think what we should do for our family vacation is just like go to New York for a week and like see 5 different shows and just let that be our thing, because we both really enjoy going to these things, and it would be much more fun. Like that to me sounds more fun than Disney. And, that also sounds to me more fun than like staying at a resort in Cozumel or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that to me sounds like probably the most fun way to spend $2,000 or whatever it would cost.
That's currently what I'm planning on doing for my 30th birthday, which wouldn't be this year, but following year. So 2021 is like we're planning a trip to New York to see like all of the shows.
Right. And I don't know if I would want to go and like do the like half price tickets day of thing and just pick a different show every day, or if I would want to like buy my tickets ahead of time and get good seats. I have no idea how I would set that up, but
you could do both.
First of all, Becca, yes, you're invited. Second of all,
I was going to say, I better be.
Second of all, yeah, I think a combination of both is what we're planning on doing. Like, I think there's going to be like probably 2 or 3 shows that we're definitely going to buy tickets ahead.
Right.
And then just the rest of the time do the half price day of thing.
Well, and you're not going to get like half price tickets to like Hamilton.
Obviously.
Yeah. So you have to, there goes half your budget right there. And then
Hamilton's coming down in 4 different cities in Florida this year, like in the season. And I've been entering the lottery for all of them, and I never win, and it's very sad.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
It's fine. So what else? We've covered most of the first act already. Was there anything else? How was Aaron Burr, sir? Because you make all of the pun jokes from Aaron Burr, sir. How did you like it?
I really liked it. I will say, so it took 3 or 4 songs before I was on board with a different cast.
Okay.
So that to me I was still like, oh, that's different. Okay.
That was me and Dear Evan Hansen, so I totally get that. And I was already in love with the guy that played Evan, and I still had a hard time. So I get what you're saying.
Right, and you're like, oh, but wait a minute.
That's not right.
I know. That's not right. And it is right. And like these different casts are great. And you know, what my dad said, he said comparison is the thief of joy. And I was like, man, why'd you have to say that?
Why do you have to make me feel bad?
Right. But it did not thieve my joy. I was happy the entire time anyway. And like that, those acclamation moments were, you know, acclamation, and it was part of the fun. I really, so I would say 3 songs. It didn't get to my shot before I was like, okay, yeah, I know what's going on here, and I'm on board. I will say the whole show makes a lot more sense live. Like in front of your face. I think it's pretty easy to follow through the cast album, but there was a lot of things that I wouldn't say a lot, but there were more than a few moments where I was like, oh, like I have always had a hard time with Helpless and Satisfied, like trying to figure out exactly what's going on between those things. Like you can sort of hear like, okay, they're rewinding now, but I have a hard time differentiating between Eliza and Angelica on the cast album. They sound very similar. They look very different. And our Eliza was perfect. Is Eliza as far as I'm concerned.
Aww.
She was so extremely good. Actually, I think probably my favorite song live was Burn.
Oh my god. That song broke destroys me when I saw it live.
Yeah, that was...
I cried throughout the entire... Like, the second act is so much worse than the first one. Like, the first act, I was crying just because I was so happy I was there. But the second act, like, I was crying because everything was just, like, happening. And all of the emotions were, like, all over the place. Because Burn is a great song. And it's one that I've always been, like, Team Angelica. Like, I love Renee Elise Goldsberry so much. And I love, like, Satisfied is probably in my top 5 of the bajillion songs that are on this cast album. And, like, I don't know, I love how he wrote Angelica's character. But, so, I liked Burn, but it wasn't, like, one of my favorites until I saw it performed live.
I think you get a lot more appreciation for Eliza and Hamilton's relationship live.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree.
I would say that if you just listen to the cast album, like when I listen to the cast album, I think him and Angelica were much, much closer. But seeing it live, and maybe that's just because I'm having a hard time figuring out who's who. But seeing it live, I feel like Eliza is the star of the show.
That's so funny you say that, because like I have no issues distinguishing Philippa Sue and Renee Elise Goldsberry. Like, to me, they sound super different.
And like that may be the case. It may be like my own just, I don't know, blind indifference. The hardest thing for me to like originally was the entire love story. Like, I didn't like the voices of the female characters, so I would like skip over those songs.
Okay, that's fair.
Which I have since, I think, circled back around to, and now they're, you know, part of my favorite parts of the whole thing. But yeah, it took a while for me to get on board there, and then I don't know. I mean, yes, they sound different. There's no denying that. It's just my own ignorance and stupidity.
No, absolutely not.
No, it's not ignorance. This is a casual musical theater fan podcast. Like, we all opinions are valid.
Listen,
here,
the amount of times that the cast album has been played like on blast in my house is countless, and Linton still had absolutely no idea what was going on when we went to go see the show. And like we left,
really?
We left, and he was like, "This was amazing. Like this was really
that
good.
Was so good."
And I dragged Linton to all of the theater shows, and he likes them fine, but he like musical theater is definitely not his thing. But he left Hamilton like, we're gonna see this again. Like we have to go see this again. Like he really liked it.
It is a religious experience. It is like, oh gosh, we are in now. We're gonna spend a lot of money on this. Okay. We're going to throw that in the budget for the next few years.
Absolutely. It was the first time that I actually caught him listening. Like after we saw the show, I caught him listening to the actual cast album versus the mixtape, because he's very into the mixtape because a lot of the artists that he listens to are on the mixtape.
Right.
And he loves the mixtape. But yeah, he started actually listening to like the cast album, and it brought me, like, I was so happy about it. So happy.
I think something that blows my mind about Hamilton, or maybe not my mind, but it blows the mind of like non-musical theater people, is just how big it is and just how like obviously good it is. I will say this, like if I ever go to a Broadway show, or if I see a Broadway show, or even if I go to a freaking High School Musical, I'm always like, wow, this is an incredibly good story. Like I don't know why I don't expect it to be good, because it's this major production that takes up like real estate in New York City and sells out every single day, no matter what it is, right? It's like, wow, West Side Story was amazing. Who would have thought? It's like, well,
I mean, that was me in Phantom, so.
Right. What are the odds?
Right. It's a good musical. Who knew?
And I think like non-musical theater people, because especially like where I come from, you know, it's not like rural by any means, but it's also, we don't have shows that are just like on retainer here. You can't just whenever you want go see a major musical. You have to like go when they're in town, or the local theater will put on like 3 nights of something, you know. It's so I think it always surprises non-musical theater people like how obviously good musicals are.
Yeah.
Like,
that's the one thing about living in Miami that I kind of love, is that at any given moment, there's like 4 companies doing some sort of show in the greater South Florida area. And the fact that we do have the major touring casts that come through here like every year. And like at any given moment, Phantom is playing at least once a year. Like, in a major theater, like not just a local company or anything like that. In the Heights is every local company in Miami does In the Heights, but
really?
Oh yeah, I mean it's Miami.
Or at least it's about Miami. Yeah.
Oh, it's not about Miami. It's about New York, Washington Heights in New York.
Is it?
But
I do not know In the Heights well enough, and I'm sorry.
That's the next one that you need to get into.
The movie's coming out.
That's another thing where it's like, I'm going to listen to this a few times, and eventually I know I'm going to love it because it's huge and very good.
And Lin-Manuel Miranda.
And everything Lin does is good. Oh, gosh.
But yeah, and plus it's like Spanglish, so everybody in Miami wants to cover it because Spanish. But yeah, I am fortunate enough that I get to go to shows whenever I want to. And it's great. But I like going into shows blind as well. Like when I went to go see Waitress, I hadn't heard like anything of Waitress. I hadn't listened to the cast album. I probably heard She Used to Be Mine like once or twice because I'm a fan of Sarah Bareilles. But I remember going to go see it. We won like lottery tickets to see it, and we saw it for like $30. And it like changed my life. I love that show so much. And I love when shows do that.
Emily saw Waitress in New York with Sarah Bareilles, and I'm very jealous.
I forgot about that.
Waitress is on my list of things to like, but I've tried to listen to the cast album, and I need the context. I cannot do it without it.
Me
and
too.
I know like it's another thing where I know it's good, but I think I'm going to need to see it first. Where I don't think you necessarily need that with Hamilton.
Yeah, no, I think Hamilton, I mean, there's like I said, a billion songs on the cast album. There's very little on stage that's not on the cast album. So I think it's a lot easier to follow the story through the cast album. Waitress is definitely one that like I listen to, and then someone asks me like, okay, what is going on during this song? And then I sit there and explain to them what happened on stage, because it's a little more difficult to follow just listening to it.
Like to this, I have that same problem. I've been listening to Book of Mormon since like 2012. And I still don't really know what happens in the show. I've never seen it.
Well, that was one that like totally
sort of
blew my mind when I saw it.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, they're like, I think what happens is the daughter is like the only one that buys into it. Is that what I understand? And then like everybody else is just messing with them?
No, the daughter definitely buys into it. She buys into this whole like concept of them leaving Africa and finding like the best city in the world, Salt Lake City. And she's the one that
Salt Lake City. I've never been, but Salt Lake City might be the best city in the world. Like,
maybe.
It's got wide roads, and it's like one of the richest places in the world.
It's got a lot of our friends.
It does have a lot of our friends.
Got a lot of our friends. They have a lot of shows that come through.
It might be the best city in the world. I wouldn't know. I haven't been there.
Guys, we're talking about Hamilton, and
the greatest city in the
world.
It was interesting watching Hamilton in Virginia, where like the Virginians are the villains, because every so often they would say something, and every so often they would say something about Virginia, and the crowd would, like cheer or whatever, and they played it off well, but it was still sort of like, okay, but the Virginians are the bad guys here.
I didn't even think about that. That's not an issue down
here.
It
was not an issue like a lot, but it was like at the end when the cast comes out and like talks about the the charity thing, George Washington came out and talked about thank you these great Virginians, and everybody went nuts because Washington's not a bad guy. So
right,
he's definitely not a bad guy
relatively.
I mean,
I wouldn't say he's a bad guy at all.
If they're able to put on Hamilton
in real life,
on the West End, like I feel like it's fine.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Yeah, exactly. Because I remember there was some YouTuber that I was watching that saw it, and they were talking about how they saw it on the West End, and they were like, I was going in there expecting like everyone to not like everyone to like the British character and not like the American character, and she was like, no, it was fine. Everyone hated King George. We all hate him too. It's fine.
Well, and one of the things I think is interesting about Hamilton is like Lynn has said it. The reason it can be performed in the West End is because they don't know our history, but neither do we. Like that's the whole point.
Right.
Is that it's about these two characters that history forgot.
Right.
I love that.
So
Ty, what's your background with theater?
So I've always wanted to act. I never did growing up. I don't know if it was like I was afraid to be bullied thing, or if it was just like I was too nervous. I don't know. I've never acted, and I can't sing very well, so that's a big part of it. But I've always liked stage shows. I think the first stage show I remember seeing was Annie Get Your Gun, and it was like my high school did it, and the girl who played Annie was like, every senior class has one kid who's like, oh my gosh, they're amazing. They're going to go to the Broadway. And we had one when I was a senior. But when I was in 6th grade, this girl who was like rumored to be excellent really was excellent. And our neighbor was in it. So we went and saw it. And I remember being like, wow, who'd have thought? This is so good. But then my first Broadway show, I want to say it wasn't on Broadway, but it was Wicked.
Good one.
It was the touring cast in 2007, and even though
that's early,
like 4 years in, it's like where we are with Hamilton. It's not that early.
No, that's pretty early considering. I mean, it's been on for like 15 years.
Yeah. But I remember seeing that, but I went to the show, and this is the dumbest thing. That was like the day we were leaving. We went on our band trip there, and that was like the day we were leaving. And for whatever reason, I think I figured out why. I wanted to sleep on the bus, and I thought if I slept on the bus, I couldn't wear my glasses because they would break. This is the mind of a 13-year-old, bear in mind. So I didn't wear my glasses to the show.
That's so funny.
So like I couldn't see anything at all.
Just a big blob of green everywhere.
Just like a big blob of green and a big blob of pink, and that was it. I honestly don't remember much of the story. I do know that at one point, like, when Dorothy and everybody shows up, they're like as shadows on the screen or on the stage.
Yeah.
Screen movies. And I remember being able to see that, but that was like it.
Wicked's so such a good show. That's a good like first show, even if you couldn't see it.
Yeah, and
that was the first show that like really surprised me because I had no idea about like the Dorothy part because you don't really get that in the songs. So I had no idea about the Wizard of Oz like connection. I didn't realize they overlapped until I saw it in 2014 with my mom. So that's another one. Like we were talking about how some things you just like completely miss. Like the whole storyline of Dear Evan Hansen, I completely missed too.
Like is the book, is that the same story or is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so the book is like note for note.
There's a couple subtle differences like with Zoe. Like I know like in the book Zoe goes and like performs her music at like a cafe or something. Like that doesn't happen. So there's a couple of differences, but essentially the story is the story.
Okay. So then, I didn't get any of that. That was...
I thought him and Connor were, like, actually friends until I, like, accidentally watched a bootleg. And by accidentally, I mean I sought out a bootleg. And I legitimately thought that they were either friends or dating until then. Until, like, 2 months out from when I saw it. So
I genuinely thought that the person that Evan is talking to when he's writing the letters was, like, Connor's ghost.
Yeah, a lot of people, because you don't realize that Jared is a character unless you see the show.
Know. Yeah, I just assumed that it was like, I thought that was the whole thing. And even when I was reading the book, they talk about how like Connor's ghost shows up in his window or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's just who it is. Like, until I got to that part in the book. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, it's a different person. But
because Mike Feist and Will Rowland, their voices are so similar that my best friend, Gina, who went to go see the show with me, when I was talking to her about it beforehand, and I was like, yeah, the other boy in Sincerely Me. And she's like, what? I was like, there's another character. She's like, no, there isn't.
No, that's not real.
Yeah. She's like, you're messing with me. I'm like, no, there's like a whole other character that like one of my favorite Broadway actors plays. So like,
yeah, there's definitely 3 people singing that song.
Yeah.
But so that was like my first show, and then after that, of course, I saw Lion King, which I feel like everybody has seen.
Becca hasn't seen it,
but it's oh my gosh, you're missing out. It's so amazingly good.
I know.
The problem with Lion King, I feel like, is like if you're gonna go to New York and if you're like a Broadway person and you buy tickets to Lion King, it's like
right. It'll be in your nearest city in like 6 months. Just wait
for real.
But it's also in a very near city to you right now in New York. So just go and
true.
see
I mean, to be fair, I only live 6 hours, so everything is near to me. I'm literally going at the end of this month on like a 32-hour trip. So
yeah, to see a kids show, right?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, so go see Lion King.
Well, we're actually going to do the thing that you were talking about because we're seeing Percy Jackson in a matinee, and then after that we're gonna just go and be like, what tickets can we buy 30 minutes before it opens, and just see what happens.
You're
gonna see Lion King.
Maybe, but I really, really want to see Beetlejuice, so I'm hoping that that's like a really chill day that day. But it's a Sunday, so who knows?
Aren't you going on the weekend? It's never chill on the weekend.
You never know. You never know. I'm just going to enter the lottery.
Fair.
Which, like, because they have it in New York, they have it, like, in-person lottery where you have to, like, be there. Which my friend Bree does all the time, so they know how to do that. And I'm just like, I'm just going to follow your lead. That's all. I don't want to spend more than $50 on a ticket. So here we go.
Here we go. Let's do it.
Well, we're not talking about Hamilton, so let's take a break and discuss our potatoes for the week.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's a format change, audience. We're putting it in the middle.
Becca, what's your first potato this week?
Okay, so my first potato this week. Tyler, 2 of my potatoes are going to feel like I really catered them to you. I swear I didn't. These were written down before we decided that this was going to be.
You were going to be our guest. Oh my gosh, was I supposed to write these down?
I mean, no. Man. As long as you have,
gosh.
I just forget.
Yeah, we write them down because we have terrible memory. But if you're good,
oh dear, oh gosh,
you have time.
Panic. So the one that's not related to Tyler is I bought a new printer and Amazon Fire Stick during Black Friday, and it literally, I don't know why having a printer and something to stream on my TV has changed my life, but it has, and it's made my I'm currently doing a snow day right now. The other 2 are not. I am. and I'm going to watch TV all day, and it's going to be great. And I'm just really excited about those two things.
That's awesome.
Blue skies here.
What is snow? It's like...
You've been to Minnesota.
I have been to Minnesota. It was the first time I saw snow ever in my entire life of, at the time,
That's a good place to see snow for the first time.
It was amazing and life-changing, and, like, Rachel had to, like, physically stop me from running outside without a coat because I was so excited. Because
you will die.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but I was very excited, and I just wanted to like jump in the snow already. And she's like, "You need to put a coat on." I'm like, "But it's snowing." I'm like, "You need to put a coat on." I'm like, "All right." So I put a.
Enie's like ideal temperature is 55 degrees.
It's already 80 degrees out, and the sun isn't even fully out yet. So yeah.
Yikes! It's pretty chilly here. Not Maine cold, but it's cold.
Yeah, it's pretty cold here.
Tyler, what's your first potato this week?
Hamilton, obviously. I went and I got to see Hamilton yesterday. That was fantastic. It was such a good little birthday treat.
It was your birthday. Happy belated birthday, Tyler. I mean, I told you happy birthday yesterday, but happy belated birthday.
I was first.
Becca was first.
We were talking to Ethan, and I'm like, "Oh my God, Tyler's birthday's in 4 minutes," and then I missed the 4 minutes.
I did not.
I got distracted by something on the internet. Surprise.
Yeah, that's okay.
I know. I told you before you're best friend. I'm just saying. I'm gonna be your new co-host.
That's right.
Bacon and Eddos.
Bacon and Eddos. Howdy, folks. Welcome back.
See, it works either way because you guys happen to use your show as my initials, B and E. So it could be Becca and Eggs or Bacon and Eddos. It just works. I'm just going to take both your spots.
It's just
Becca and Eddos.
It's
That's
just
the
only
new
gonna
show.
be Becca.
Yeah.
She was like, howdy, folks.
What's up,
Welcome
Enie?
back
What's
to
your
Bacon
first
and
one?
Eggs. I'm Becca. And I'm Eddos.
I love that.
Yeah, I'll do the Sven thing where I like talk out of my mouth just a little bit lower.
So my first potato is that we finally got our Christmas tree yesterday. Since I had things.
Is it real?
Huh?
Is it real?
Yeah, it's real. We only do real Christmas trees in this house.
Do they grow down there?
Yeah, that's what my question was.
They get imported. Relax.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, no, they don't grow down here at all, but they bring them down.
Which is funny. I live in literally the pine tree state. Like that's what it's called.
I'm so jealous. Anyway, yeah, so since we celebrated Thanksgiving a little late this year because of my mother's work.
Some great conifers you got up there in Maine. That's some forest expertise you have.
You'll be impressed with all my forest expertise.
Yeah, so we celebrated Thanksgiving a little late this year because of my mom's work schedule. So I was told that I was not allowed to get a Christmas tree until after Thanksgiving, and we celebrated Thanksgiving on Saturday. So I got my Christmas tree yesterday, and I'm very excited. I'm going to decorate it tonight. Becca, what's your second potato?
Okay, so my second potato is that I just bought a new Bacon and Eggs sweatshirt, and it's the most comfy thing I've ever had in my entire life. But like I said, it's gonna sound like I'm catering these to you. It's the Be Positive one, and it's just so cozy. And I bought it so I could wear it underneath my uniform because it's like navy blue, so it matches my work uniform.
Can confirm that she's not catering it to you because she's been texting me every day since she ordered it. It's not here yet. It's not here yet.
Use promo code Becca for 15% off your order at Bacon.
Wouldn't that be great?
Oh no, I'm actually doing that.
This is incredible. This is our first affiliate link.
Look at that.
I'm not gonna kick anything back to you.
That's fine. You can keep it. I just want the clout.
That's amazing.
Because if I'm
That's
already
so funny.
discounting at 15%, I'm not making any money. So.
That's fine.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna go buy something today. Yay, Cyber Monday. Tyler, what's your second potato before you get distracted adding codes to the...
Hey, I've already added it. It's real.
Oh, okay.
Use promo code Becca for 15% off.
Just blew my mind.
I'll even show you. My second potato is Frozen 2.
Yes.
Frozen 2 has been Hamilton for me for the past few weeks. Where, like, when I first saw it, I was like, there was negative reviews. And I was like, I don't think that's... I can see where negative reviews are coming from, but I don't think this was, like, a particularly negative experience. But I don't think it's, like, the best movie I've ever seen. And then since then, I've just listened to it over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm like, this is the best thing ever. How dare you? How dare you give this a negative review?
So when you guys covered Frozen 2, I think the one complaint I had was when you complained about Reindeers Are Better Than People, the reprise. And like, it's 12 seconds long. And every time I hear it, like my heart breaks. And I love it so much. And you didn't like it, at least when you recorded your review about it.
I don't know that I said that I didn't like it. I think I said that it carried over, right?
Yeah,
it was Ethan that didn't like it.
He was complaining that it carried over from the first movie. He being you.
He being me. Look at you using my pronouns.
So that was literally my only complaint about that episode. The fact that Ethan didn't like complain about a Disney movie for 2 hours like made me really, really happy.
Ethan likes a lot of Disney movies. Okay, let's back off of him a little bit.
No.
Edie doesn't like any of the live action.
Yeah, I don't, so it's fine.
Oh, Ethan loves the live action ones. He loved Aladdin. He loved Lion King.
We fight about it all the time.
Yeah,
and Becca and I fight about it all the time.
I like all of them. I'm just like, this is a good movie.
I like all of them too. I'm into it.
You can look at our chat. The promo code is active.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
That's amazing. Live on air.
Becca's freaking out.
Also, I gave you a lot. 15% is like the best discount, so people really should use that.
I hope people do. That would make me so happy.
Well, we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I'll definitely be using that today. So my second potato this week is that this Friday is my dad's birthday, and on Sunday we're gonna go see Spring Awakening, which I know is not everyone's favorite show, but it's my dad and my favorite show to see together, which is really weird.
Look at you justifying for no reason. It's okay to like Spring Awakening.
Just let me love things. I know, but
it's on Broadway.
I'm super excited. It's a local production because Spring Awakening obviously doesn't tour anymore. But right. I'm super excited to see it because it's been a couple years since we've seen it. So I'm very excited.
And it was like the first time you saw it was with just him.
With
so
my dad.
It's special for you guys.
Absolutely. And
like it was a one-man show, or you saw like he was in the audience with you?
No. My dad and I went to go see it. No one wants to see my father on stage doing anything at all.
A one-man performance of Spring Awakening? That's not how you want to watch your dad.
That's definitely not how that show works. That would be painful to watch.
I don't know anything about Spring Awakening. I know that Ethan heard the music and was like, oh, this is pretty good. And then he learned what the show was about and he was like, I've been betrayed.
Yeah. It's a weird concept, but the music's by Duncan Sheik, which was like, he was big in like the 90s, I guess, or the band was big in the 90s. And that's why my dad was like, oh, we should check this out. And then I listened to the cast album and it was definitely in the peak of my like Glee days. So I was like, that's Leah Michelle and Jonathan Groff. Of course we're going to go see this show.
Right.
And yeah, it's a weird concept. And it not like the first time we saw it, we came back from intermission and like half the audience didn't come back.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's intense. And it was a very like small theater. Like it was very, very intimate. And that show is like a lot. So I'm not surprised that people didn't come back. But I'm super excited to see it on Sunday. And I think it's actually a larger theater than the one that we originally saw it in. So I'm excited. Becca, what's your third potato?
Okay. It's another bacon and eggs property. All I've listened to is That's What I'm Talking About for like a week and a half straight. And I'm not caught up, but I want to be caught up by tomorrow. So that's all I'm going to listen to today. It's a very good show, friends. It is about Lord of the Rings. I've not read anything Lord of the Rings. I've not seen any movie. I barely know what the plot is about, but I just love listening to Mary Clay. Kinda, yeah.
She breaks it down pretty clear.
She does, but I'm just like, yeah. I mean, I get it, and I just like listening to her talk. Like, I just enjoy her.
She's funny, dude.
So funny.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That's amazing. I promise these aren't catered to you. Like, I'm promising on behalf of Becca. Like, it's hilarious that those are her potatoes this week. Tyler, what's your last potato?
Oh gosh, I've already talked about Frozen 2. So yesterday for my birthday, after Hamilton, we went to every birthday dinner in my family is Italian food. I don't know why. We're not Italian at all. We're we're like the northern side of, we're super white, okay? Like,
yeah,
super white. We're like the northern part of Europe. But we're
Me
not.
too.
We're also like Ellis Island, been in America for the whole time. Nothing about us is Italian at all. But every birthday dinner is Italian, and I don't like Italian food from like restaurants. I don't know what it is. It all just tastes. I think it's like a taste bud thing. I really don't know why. This is like a recent revelation. Revelation.
You were right. Revelation.
That like it just tastes like garlic and butter and carbs, and I just I don't like it. But it's like every birthday dinner, and we were in Short Pump, which is like a big mall south of Richmond and Roanoke, or in Virginia, not in Roanoke. And I think it's south. I don't know. Somebody's gonna get mad at me for that. And there's a Maggiano's there, and Maggiano's is like a delicious chain Italian restaurant that would be great for a birthday dinner. And I had to like beg and plead to not go there because I don't want Italian food for dinner. I want like an artisan burger. Artisan? Yeah. I want a burger. I love burgers are my favorite food. Like I've thought a lot about this. Burgers are straight up my favorite food. And so we found this place in Richmond called Burger Bach, and we went and I got a burger and it was delicious. It had brie cheese and blueberry barbecue sauce, and it was so good. And it was everything I ever wanted. And you got a big thing of fries, and you got to pick your dipping sauces for the fries. And then we got, for our appetizer, we got like basically poutine fries, which was delicious. And it was just, the whole thing was a good experience at a good birthday dinner, and I really enjoyed it. So that was my other potato, and it wasn't Italian food.
I'm
I didn't
so
have
happy
to be like,
you didn't have Italian food.
Yeah, I didn't have to be like, yeah, I'll get the meatballs. I don't know. I just
you must hate Olive Garden.
The crazy thing about Olive Garden is that I don't like it at all.
I hate
I like
Olive
the
Garden.
salad. I like the salad and breadsticks. That's
Me too.
delicious. But again, you get the food and it's just, I don't know. It just tastes. All the same. It all tastes exactly the same. And that may be like a me thing. Maybe you, dear listener, love Olive Garden, and you're like, how dare you? They've got such a diverse menu, and it's delicious. And have you not had the salmon? And it's like, I have had the salmon. It still just tastes like garlic and butter, and it's not delicious to me.
That's hilarious. That burger sounds delicious, by the way. Brie is like one of my favorite cheeses, and I love putting brie on a burger. I
had never had brie on a burger, which was weird to me. I was like, there's no way I haven't had this, because I love brie and I love burgers. My go-to is like a pimento cheese on brioche with bacon.
Surprising.
There's a burger here. The best burger in the world. I know, right? I actually don't usually like bacon on burgers, but the best burger I've ever had is like a block from my house, and it's at like a farm-to-table restaurant. Like, and I seek out challengers to that burger in like every city that I go to, and it's yet to be bested. So
there's a place down here that does a burger with brie and honey, and it's really good.
Huh.
It's like really, really good.
That's interesting.
Like, I'll be in Vegas this week, and this morning I was talking to my Alexa speaker, and I was like, Alexa, where are good places to get burgers in Las Vegas? Like, that's what I want to do there.
That's what you want to do in Vegas. Okay.
Well, like, I don't gamble, and I don't want to do like the adult stuff. That's weird. So eating is my next option.
Fair.
Yeah, see, that's why I never want to go to Vegas, because I'm like, I mean, I want to see the shows, but that's about it. Like,
yeah.
Oh, the shows are so exciting.
I mean, I'm not going because I was like, oh, let's go to Vegas. Work is sending me, so I will be there. That's
exciting. Okay, so my last potato is the fact that we're talking about Hamilton, because when I first met Tyler almost 2 years ago. I know. Him and Ethan were very against Hamilton, and I remember probably like 6 months into being in the Bacon and Eggs Discord, like turning to Linton and I'm like, listen, I know that I've been talking about these people for the past 6 months and that how much I love this community, but I don't know if I can do this anymore. They don't like Hamilton. I don't know how I feel about this.
It wasn't even that we just like didn't like it. It was like we would try to break down like why nobody should like it.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, I don't know if I could do this anymore. I had like an actual moment about it. And almost 2 years later, here we are talking about Hamilton, and Tyler's like the biggest Hamilton fan now, and it's all my fault. I'm taking all of the credit for it.
You can. It's all yours. It is 100% yours.
So that is definitely my last potato this week.
Oh, it was so good. I loved that show. I have to see it again.
I want to see it. I'm seeing it, I think in February. It's when it's in Miami. February? I think so. I'm seeing Waitress next month.
Well, Mean Girls is going to be in February, isn't it? Down there?
No, Mean Girls is in Broward, but Hamilton's...
Oh, no, Mean Girls, that's one I don't need to see. I mean, I need to see it, but that's one I don't need to see to enjoy the music. That music's just good.
Yeah, the music's really good.
But I also know the story, right?
Yeah.
That's the good thing about movie to stage adaptations, unless you're Becca and you had never seen School of Rock. But yeah.
Well, and Becca's favorite musical is a movie to stage adaptation, right?
Newsies?
No. Percy Jackson.
Oh, okay.
Oh, God, Tyler. I think we need to wrap up, Edie. I need to, pull my parachute cord.
All right, let's wrap up. Tyler, where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Carlin. That's America, RLIN. It's a portmanteau of my last name and the country I live in. And it was made when it was cool to love America. And that's where you can find me. You can also listen to Bacon and Eggs. It's my podcast. It's called Bacon and Eggs and Movie Lovers Podcast. We have new episodes available every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Thursday?
And now every Thursday. What's today? Monday? Gosh. It is.
We come out on Wednesdays.
Yes, you come out on Wednesdays. We come out on Thursday. Every Thursday, wherever you get your podcasts, and now on Spotify.
Just the singular Spotify. There's
the
only
singular, one Spotify, many podcasts.
Yeah.
You can also listen to other shows in the Bacon and Eggs Network, like That's What I'm Talking About, and maybe some other exciting things coming very, very soon. And you can find that all at baconandeggs.media.
Sweet. And as always, you can follow our podcast on Instagram and Twitter at SincerelyUsPod. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at _EeniMeenie. That's INYMEENY.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca Eddows, BECCAEDDOWS. Our art is by the lovely Synergetic Art.
Tyler, I just want to say thanks for being on. We really appreciate you being here. It's been the highlight of my morning, and I hate mornings.
You should start every morning with bacon and eggs. That's how you should do it.
I should. I was texting Becca at 6 a.m. I'm awake. Why am I awake? And then
I was awake at 6 a.m. I couldn't believe I got out of bed so easily. I think because I've been away from home for a few days, that when my dog woke me up, I was like, oh, cool. Because we're getting up now.
Let's go.
I woke up out of sheer panic of oversleeping.
I had that also. I was like, I can't oversleep. I cannot mess this up. I made a commitment and I'm going to stick to it.
That was me too. I love that we're all just casually just so scared.
Right.
But thanks for being on the show. You are our third guest
thank you.
ever.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe I haven't been on this show before. I really it is blowing my mind.
We've only been around for 6 months. It'll be 6 months at the end of the month.
I anticipate that you will be on again and again.
Yeah.
And again.
And again.
Because this was way too much fun to not do it again.
Yeah.
All right, Becca, what do you have to say for us?
Okay, so since I use every Lin-Manuel Miranda quote ever, every time at the end of these, I'm going to leave with my favorite Hamilton quote and just remind you that history has its eyes on you.
Sincerely, us.
Alexander Hamilton.